Hi, for my latest return to the cinema, I went yesterday to see The Suicide Squad, the reboot or do over or sequel to the 2016 film directed by David Ayer and part of the DC Extended Universe. This version of the story has James Gunn moving from Marvel, where he's so successful with the Guardians of the Galaxy films, to act as writer and director, and only a few of the cast from the previous film return. Jai Courtney as Captain Boomerang, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, and Viola Davis as the group's leader, Amanda Waller. The setup is again very similar. It's about supervillains, second or third string supervillains in prison who are offered time off their sentences or increased privileges in return for going on a Dirty Dozen style mission. This time they're taken to the island of Corto Maltese, a recurring feature in DC when they ever needed a foreign country stand in, where the new government, having deposed the previous tyrants, are planning to use a long running Nazi experiment to try and seize control of the world. Something to do with alien creatures. So the various characters are sent in to do something about it. As befitting Gunn's style with the Guardians of the Galaxy films, there's a lot of weirdness, of weird creatures, and a very flip sense of humour. But combined with the fact that this is a, a hard R or strong 15 in the UK, there's a lot of swearing and a lot of gore. A lot of characters get their faces shot off. Um, there is graphic violence all the way through. It's very much a comic book movie with the brakes off. Um, I found it hugely enjoyable. The problem with the previous film was that there didn't seem to be any kind of controlling influence behind it. Although Ayer was the writer director, the studio had interfered in the production. It had been re-edited by various different people, and the finished version seemed to mash up of disparate attempts at creating a finished film, so that it really didn't have any kind of structure or focus. This is a much more concentrated work, and it's what happens when you get a filmmaker who knows what they're doing, who knows how to tell a story, who knows how to construct a narrative, and who has experience in telling a kind of group on a mission, gonzo sci-fi adventure. Idris Elba, who I generally am not terribly impressed by, I thought worked very well as the lead. Um, Very dry and serious compared to the other wackier characters. Margot Robbie, I thought slightly pushed into the background um, as a supporting character. I felt was a lot more palatable because I could find her rather grating in her previous film. The other characters I thought were interesting and entertaining. You have Polka Dot Man, who's this bizarre villain who's given an interesting backstory. A string of notable cameos. Peter Capaldi appears as a villain. Um, but the film has so much energy to it and so much in the way of ideas, entertaining dialogue, entertaining set pieces. It's a machine to entertain audiences, full of action, humor, um, memorable moments. It's the best DC film, I think, since The Dark Knight. Wonder Woman, I thought, worked in spite of all the baggage with which it had been saddled. But this, I think, is very entertaining on its own terms. It's not trying to be deep and dark and complex, even though it does have a political subtext to it that comes to the fore later in the movie. But it arises naturally out of the material, whereas in Wonder Woman it felt a little bit more forced, sympathetic though I was to the message the movie was trying to tell. So I would recommend this very highly indeed. It's a lot of fun. It's the kind of movie that Paul Verhoeven might make, with exploding bodies and swearing and a gleeful delight in carnage. Um, Great fun and highly recommended.